Hey everyone, how's it going? So we're back with some more Explorer and Pioneer content, and in the theme of checking back in with some of those old strategies that we've been trying in the past to see how they're doing. Today we're playing some Azorius artifacts, Affinity, Metalwork, that kind of thing. So as the name suggests, this deck is built around getting a lot of cheap artifacts into play and then being able to cast some more powerful stuff cheaply, and that's kind of up at the top end of our curve here. So the namesake card of the deck is Metalwork Colossus, which is a 10/10 for 11, generic mana, but it costs X less to cast, where X is the total mana value of non-creature artifacts you control, and you can sacrifice 2 artifacts to return this card from your graveyard to your hand. So often we will be able to power this out for potentially 0 mana, and just present a very, very lethal threat that we can potentially give double strike and trample with a Leyline Axe or something similar. So yeah, that's one of the payoff cards. And then the other two are Voyage Home, which is 5 white-blue sorcery with affinity for artifacts, so it costs 1 less for each artifact we control. Draw 3 cards, gain 3 life. Obviously, in an ideal world, we are just playing this for blue-white, and it's a very, very efficient draw spell. Memory Guardian is a 3/4 flying with affinity for artifacts. It would normally cost 5, but hopefully we can get it down to costing potentially just 1 blue mana, which is great in a number of ways. Not only is it a very cheap spell, but it also triggers our Simulacrum Synthesizers. So we got full 4 copies of that, the artifact which allows you to scry 2 when it enters the battlefield, and then whenever an artifact we control with mana value 3 or greater enters, we create a construct. So a 0/0 colourless construct artifact creature token. With this token gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. So obviously in multiples, which, you know, playing the second one triggers off the first one, this card very, very quickly snowballs out of the game. And then the rest of the deck is kind of just enablers for all of the rest of the stuff we've got going on. So our cheap artifacts, 4 copies of Portable Hole, obviously very good early interaction. Moonsnare prototype, just a cheap artifact that could potentially ramp us, provide some additional mana. Candy Trail gives us some card selection and card draw later on when we don't need its mana value to sit on the battlefield anymore. Fabrication Foundry is another good card. 2 mana for an artifact which adds 1 white mana that can only be spent to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifact sources. And the often neglected, by me anyway, second ability to exile 1 or more artifacts you control with total mana value X to return another one from our graveyard to the battlefield is potentially a good way of getting synthesizers and other things back, so that is worth paying attention to. Prophetic Prism does allow us to draw a card and also filter our colours of mana, but again, generally just a 2 mana artifact that replaces itself. We are running 2 copies of Stock Up as well, just a good way of refilling our hand with the cards we want for not a huge amount of mana. You know, if we have a synthesizer in play, then Stock Up is a good way of potentially finding our Memory Guardians and other things. Leyline Axe, like all Leylines, can start the game on the battlefield if it's in our opening hand, which obviously kind of gives us an immediate reduction on our Metalwork Colossus costs, and is one way of turning Metalwork Colossus into a pretty potent threat. And then we are also running 1 copy of the Antiquities War, which is not only a good card selection card on its first 2 modes, but depending on how many artifacts we got on the battlefield, can potentially turn into a game-winning threat on its 3rd chapter, turning all our artifacts into 5/5s. So yeah, it's an interesting configuration of this deck. Did pretty well in a recent Pioneer challenge. Not playing Brass Knuckles, which is interesting, which is one of the kind of traditionally classic ways of significantly reducing your Metalwork Colossus, because you get 8 mana value worth of artifacts for 4 mana. But we're not using that in this particular game, so it'll be interesting to see how reliably we can cast these without it. Mana base, pretty self-explanatory. Blue-white dual lands. We've got 1 Fomori Vault, which allows us to do some pretty intensive card selection if we have a lot of artifacts. Inventor's Fair, not only a kind of marginal source of life gain, but also allows us to search for any artifact later on in the game. A couple of islands. In the sideboard, we got 1 copy of Rest in Peace, just as a little bit of graveyard hate. Bit of a nombo with Metalwork Colossus, so that is worth bearing that in mind. Aethergust and Metallic Rebuke are some counter spells. Then we got our kind of scalp pieces with Damping Sphere, the Stone Brain, and Torpor Orb, so we can bring those in various combinations as and when we need them. Knockout Blow, very good against red decks. Redain, anti-control technology. You know, we are trying to stop opponents from potentially wrathing the board. Chrome Host Sea Shark, good for those grindy matchups. A lot of our spells will turn into Incubator tokens, which are themselves artifacts. And then a Supreme Verdict, just in case we need to wrath the board, and one Riptide Gearhulk as well, which we saw did some pretty good work in a recent Azorius control list, but again, just another good artifact, very powerful tempo play. So yeah, these are all good artifacts. So let's see how this does. Thank you very much for watching. As ever, like and subscribe, and let's go on to the ladder. Okay, early Leyline Axe, Candy Trail for some card selection seems pretty decent. Okay, so this is either a Phoenix deck or a... probably Phoenix, given the opt. I don't think we want another Leyline Axe, but Portable Hole could potentially be good if they have like a Ledger Shredder turn 2. Yep. Look at that, it's like I knew the whole thing was going to happen. Okay, they do have another. Right, let's get Simulacrum Synthesizer into play. Ooh, yeah, I'll keep a Voyage Home. Just the one, I think. I don't need both. Okay, well, let's start with a Memory Guardian. Then, yeah, they can get some value off their Shredder here. I'm not hugely fussed, I don't think. And I'll play Voyage Home as well. Should be enough to win pretty comfortably here. Yep. Okay, so that's kind of how the deck's supposed to work. So, is it Phoenix? I do want Rest in Peace, because like they're never killing a Metalwork Colossus, I don't think. It's a 10-10. Knockout Blow is pretty reasonable here as well. So is Damping Sphere, the Stone Brain. Do I like Seed Shark? Seed Shark's quite a good answer. It's just a good... holds off Phoenix quite well. Yeah, that's probably decent. So that's 6 cards in. What's coming out? So they are a deck running Shredder, so Portable Hole is not dead, but I think they don't run enough to justify the full 4 copies of it, so I'll take 2 out. I'll trim 1 Voyage Home on the draw. How do I feel? I think I will trim the Antiquities War on the draw as well. And let's ditch Prophetic Prism. So yeah, that first game was very much the deck functioning at its optimum, whether it can consistently do that. See, this is a slightly more awkward hand. 5 lands is a lot, and as much as I do like Seed Shark, I think I'm going to send this one back. Yeah, I think this is a keep because we have the... what am I getting rid of here? Yeah, I'll ditch a Memory Guardian. Because we have the Candy Trail, which lets us hopefully scry into some more lands. If the opponents were running a black deck, I'd feel much worse about this, given... Okay, well, we'll keep a land. So I do want to be able to draw with Candy Trail. Not a land. Also not a land. Well, that's quite annoying, isn't it? Yes, thank you. I'll have all 4 copies of my Leyline Axe. Why not? Right, well, let's get Rest in Peace down. At least that shuts off their treasure cruises for a turn. Or forever. Okay, well, we didn't need the land in the end. Just as well. Okay, this actually looks like not a terrible hand. I don't think I need either of those right now, to be honest. I'll get Fabrication Foundry down. Blue-white. Just basic lands. I think I don't know what they're doing yet, so I'm going to try and play Synthesizer. Okay, well that worked out pretty well. Scry both of those lands away. I wonder if they have something like Spell Queller, which I don't really want to go under. I don't really want to be countering my Antiquities War, so I'll just Candy Trail. Do some more setup. Yeah, I'll take both of those. A Prophetic Prism. Three steps ahead. Okay, so they are some form of control deck, it looks like. So I'm not sure I want to play out my synthesizer quite yet. I'll simply pass the turn. Okay, the Wandering Emperor, sure thing.
I am the Emperor of Kamigawa, and I will protect my people. Let your blade do the talking.
Yep, all tokens all the time. Big Teferi, sure thing.
I know what must be done. Let's skip to the good part.
Do I want to draw a card here or keep all of my artifacts? I think I want to chill on my voyage home, so I'm going to try and land another synthesizer, which did work. I may as well keep synthesizer number 3. Go God, I got screwed by the auto-tapper there, didn't I? Because, yeah, if this had tapped the Fabrication Foundry... should have paid attention to that.
Hold that thought.
We've got the edge in this fight.
Okay, they're not doing very much, which is fine. So I will sacrifice one of my candy trails here. So, do I want synthesizer number 3? I think I do. I don't want either of those. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Well, I shall respond with a voyage home. Okay. Totally screwed by farewell here, but we can but hope. Yep, they're making more samurai. Alright, well that's pretty good. So let's start with Portable Hull. Get rid of one of these. Then we'll start the attacks. Would be nice to have given it trample, but I don't have the mana, unfortunately. So instead, I shall play out a Memory Guardian. Trigger my synthesizer 3 times. Get another Fabrication Foundry into play. Now they probably have a verdict or something similar, but I'm not sure we can be playing around that at this point. We kind of need to get rid of Teferi before it can ultimate.
We need to move quickly.
Yep, there's a Sunfall. And that gives them a 6/6 as well.
I have got new moves to teach you.
So we'll sack our Candy Trail, draw another card. It's not looking ideal here. Get a line, get a ley line axe into play. Okay. Well, as long as we continue to create creatures, it's not the end of the world. Because one of these can quite quickly win the game. See if the ultimate Teferi here. Yeah. And a Supreme Verdict. That'll probably do it. Then I do have a lot of life.
Guards, to me.
Ooh, Metalwork Colossus is quite good. So, start with a Leyline Axe. That's fine. Then we'll follow that up with Metalwork Colossus. That'll trigger my 3 synthesizers. Shame this doesn't give haste. That to me implies they've got yet another Wrath. Seagate Restoration. Do they really want to tap out there? Oh yeah, because they could just exile all of my stuff. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that was quite rough. So I definitely want Redain. I want Metallic Rebuke. Don't mind Chrome Host Seed Shark here either, actually. Definitely not on the... Certainly not on the play. I'll put in the Stone Brain as a way of scalping Teferi, because, like, I don't really have many good answers to that card. I'm going to take out Portable Hole. The Antiquities War, and 1 copy of Voyage Home. This'll do. Both our stock ups in our opening hand is interesting. So I can't Moon Snare and play my Fabrication Foundry, unfortunately. Just slightly not quite the right colours of mana. What I can do is play Simulacrum Synthesizer. Memory Guardian's good, so is Candy Trail actually in this situation. So we'll keep both of those. Gain a life. Follow it up with a Candy Trail. Ah, interesting. Okay. It's not too bad. I do want the Metallic Rebuke. Let's do another Fabrication Foundry. And now I think we will play Memory Guardian. Memory Deluge, sure thing. This is all slightly awkward. Not having a third land. And just one. Coloured mana. But that's fine, we'll just pass the turn. Another Memory Deluge, okay. Right, that's a bit better. So now we can go to attacks. Sure. Now we'll play a stock up. Okay. Teferi is a problem.
No time for a break.
No, we're not. We're absolutely nowhere against Azorius control here. That is probably a problem for this deck. Okay, we'll try one more. This is okay. Early Leyline Axe. Reducing the cost of Metalwork Colossus. It is a shame in some ways that this being on the battlefield means it can't trigger Synthesizer later, but that's life. And it does provide a handy little additional thing for Moonsnare prototype. And they do not have a turn 1 Thoughtseize, which will allow us to Synthesizer straight away. Scry 2 lands to the bottom. Blaze Verge Pathway is an interesting... So this is potentially Rakdos? Yep. Okay, well, yes, I can do both of these, can't I? I can Portable Hole, get rid of FOMO, follow up with a Metalwork Colossus, trigger Synthesizer. Okay, this should be lethal now, as I can equip Leyline Axe. Attack. Okay. That was a sneaky sneaky win we got away with there. So if the opponent's on Rakdos Demons, what do I like against them? I don't mind Knockout Blow. Metallic Rebuke for their annexes and the like, and Krobos Sea Shark is actually quite reasonable against a whole load of spot removal. Riptide Gearhog gets rid of their demon tokens permanently. Yeah, that seems a pretty decent attempt to sideboard. I'll trim a Voyage Home on the draw. Probably need to cut out a few of these more expensive cards. The Antiquities War feels a bit too slow, taking a turn off to do that. Trim a Guardian. Prism and maybe one Moon Snare prototype. Relying a lot on our 3-drops here. Do I want stock up on the draw? Probably not, actually. Let's take that out. Put back in Moonsnare prototype and the other Memory Guardian. Let's just stick to the main strategy, which is synthesize the opponent's Rakdos. They don't have hugely good answers for artifacts. We're fortunate they didn't have any turn 1 hand disruption in that first game, because that could have seriously hurt our hand, but can't really rely on that again. But at least on the draw gives us a bit more card. A bit more card. Words. I'm tired. It's been a long week. Where's the opponent gone? There they are. Yep, this'll do. Yep, they're on a heavy mulligan. I'll put a Leyline Axe into play. Yes, I can do both of these now, can't I? I can play Moonsnare prototype, which then gives me the mana to cast my Candy Trail. That's a neat little interaction. I think I do want one more land in my hand. Thoughtseize. How dare you? Yeah, I think that's probably the right shout. Then I've got the option to Candy Trail at the end of turn, which I think I should probably do. In fact, I shall do it now before it gets destroyed by Hidetsugu. Don't think I want Leyline Axe straight away. I think I want Metallic Rebuke ready for whatever they're going to do next. Yep, that is getting countered. 6 ways to Sunday. Okay, Synthesizer we like. Don't really want either of those, to be honest. They don't trigger the Synthesizer, and the opponent's not really running anything which justifies it. Darn, they can take my Riptide Gearhulk. Okay, I will at least get to Leyline Axe, which gives me my first Synthesizer token. Okay, they're leaving themselves quite vulnerable here. Can I kill them this turn? I'm not sure I can. Ooh, I could. Can I do anything? If I sacrifice if I sacrifice both my leyline axes, can I bring back my Riptide Gearhulk and just send this back to their hand? I think I probably can. I think that's the thing that happens. Yep. Total mana value. Hang on. Return target. Return target artifact. Okay, no. What do I need to do? I need to pay 8. Sorry, yeah. Because this gets rid of that annoying clause, which means I lose if they target it enough. Okay, that was quite contrived, but I think it was the right thing to do. Yep. Yeah, I finally remembered what Fabrication Foundry does. And we can open some more packs. Yeah, no, that went okay. The getting utterly smashed by Azorius Control worries me about this deck, but it didn't do a bad job with the other matchups. Another from Thunderous Philosophy. I think we opened one of those last video as well. 9 lives familiar. Yeah, not bad. I think the variability in how this deck plays is quite high. I mean, like, sometimes you'll go off with multiple synthesizers and you'll just absolutely crush your opponent like we did in that last match. And other times you just won't be able to do anything at all. You'll be sat there just durdling with Moonsnare prototypes. So I can see why this deck went 5-0. I can also see how it would go 0-5 without a huge amount of change. But yeah, the new Affinity cards really help kind of provide some consistency to triggering Synthesizer and getting some cards back in your hand. Yeah, we didn't miss the brass knuckles too much. So yeah, not bad. Probably not top tier, but not bad. Yeah, let me know if you've had a similar experience or if you have kind of a slightly different version of this kind of deck that's worked well for you. Anything you want in the comments. Here's the deck list one more time. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Always appreciate the support. And I'll see you next time.